They say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But that's bullshit. It's not true. So let's fix the Grounded 1 Summoner. Summoning was my favorite way to play Grounded 1, yet despite being a big fan, I kinda have to admit that it sucked. It was not a good system. Grounded 1 summoning involved putting on a trinket, armor, or mutation that allowed for summoning and then repeatedly hitting the enemy. Every hit carried a tiny chance to spawn an ally that then randomly attacked the enemy and despawned after about 30 seconds. There was also the Ant Queen Scepter, which let you increase their HP. This, however, was not very useful as the short time limit meant summons would quickly pass anyway. It also used a fairly slow moveset, which meant you were better off just equipping a fast spear and spamming away. This system, while functional, displeased me. You, the summoner, never quite felt like the one actually summoning. It felt like random allies just appeared out of nowhere. This also frequently resulted in you not doing damage because you got unlucky and none of your summons appeared. It caused boss encounters to feel like RNG, as you could be playing just as well, yet for seemingly no reason doing infinitely worse one attempt and fantastic another. It shouldn't be like this. A summoner should be the mighty commander of an army, and not a lowly fool slapping spiders with a stick. And there's an easy way to make this reality. Summons shouldn't be tied to attacking. Just activate my summon on combat entry, and then only kill it once its HP has been drained. You could then have the summon on a cooldown, sort of like Night Rain's Revenant. Leveling up armor or mutations could increase the quantity and strength of your summons. Not only would this allow you to actually feel in control of your summons, as you, for example, putting on the trinket is the action that results in summoning and not attacking. It would also shift the game's focus from just spamming attacks to managing and maintaining your summons. Things like the Ant Queen Scepter would become suddenly valuable and useful. You could even have different summoning staffs with distinct functions like healing your summons, buffing them, or even giving them pigment-style commands. Tough boss with a lot of ads? Just tell your summons to focus on the ads and use that time to get damage in before retreating to patch up your summons. To me, this sounds far more interesting than just spamming attack and hoping for the best. I also was not fond of the way Grounded 1 handled summon strength. With the exception of Widowlings, your newest summon was always the strongest. There was never any reason to go back, and you could actually have most of them equipped at the same time. You'd always end up with the same build, and everything else was merely a challenge run. Widowlings avoided this by poisoning enemies, an ability totally unique to them. Despite not being very strong, the poison added utility that other summons could not provide. Why not expand on this? Elemental summons, summons who deal different damage types, summons who apply ailments, and more. There's a ton of untapped potential here. Night Rain once again is a perfect example for this, with summons having different sizes, mobility, ability, and utility. Grounded already applies different elements to various creatures, so this wouldn't even be too out of place. This would also lead to more enemies being summonable, as the selection of the first game felt somewhat limited. Summons also should be represented in mounts, with certain mounts maybe having summoner abilities of their own, with mount allies already being spotted in some trailers. Lastly, I'd like Grounded 2 to up the visual clarity of summoning. In Grounded 1 there was nearly no difference between your summons and actual enemies. The ants were especially bad. It was impossible to tell them apart in the heat of battle, and unfortunately that would really confuse your team, with them not only losing out on damage to the actual enemy, but also reducing your damage in the process. This is such an easy fix, I'm baffled it's not in Grounded 1. All they really need is an outline or indicator that clearly marks them as allies. You could even get creative with them and present them as Raw Shine's Ghost or Hologram. Even the tiniest tweak to the visual clarity would make a massive difference. I cannot count the amount of times I heard the phrase, "Oh, those are his summons." I really hope the summoner can make a triumphant return in Grounded 2, without any of the wasted potential of the first game's summoner.